Every time you say yes when you really mean no. Every time you let someone overstep, you're not just losing time, you're leaking power. You can't create your vision if your energy is being stolen one boundary at a time. Let's talk about how to stop that for good. Your energy is sacred. Not everyone gets access to it. Indigenous cultures treat energy exchange as something deeply sacred and with deep respect. I recall in my experience, before I really started to set up boundaries, I had a relationship where someone would constantly overstep and tell me what to do. And I was more in the space of people pleasing at that time. Internally, I struggled a lot with this. I didn't feel comfortable doing all the things that I was setting out to do for this person. And what did that do? Energetically, I'm fighting with myself internally. So that affected my life on the outside. I noticed I wasn't able to show up fully for myself and for other people because of this internal struggle. I was having these inner dialogues with my mind and going back and forth about why I shouldn't be doing these things. However, there was a deeper part of me that was wounded and trying to put my best foot forward in front of everyone else to be perceived in a certain light. This was not allowing me to be authentic with myself and with those around me. And it's something I've been working with throughout the years, right? Releasing this guilt of maybe being perceived as a not kind person for saying no. But that's so far from the reality, honestly. The moment I started to really say no and protect my energy and protect what I align with in terms of my values, that's when I started to feel more free, right? It was uncomfortable at first saying no and feeling like I was being mean because, I don't know, that's something that was programmed within me from a young age. However, stepping through that uncomfortable situation and really starting to be firm with those boundaries really allowed me to discover who I am and move more freely and let go of a lot of baggage, honestly. And that's what helped me understand just how sacred our energy is and how important it is that we become guardians of that, right? Because when we are really taking care of our energy and ourselves, we're able to elevate to another vibration and really show up in our lives the way that we choose to. And this affects our ability in being able to create the reality around us. You know, when I go back to that moment when I was more about people pleasing and having these internal struggles, I had tunnel vision, right? I wasn't really seeing what was going on around me. I wasn't open to all the opportunities that were around me. And once I started to really protect my energy and put up these boundaries, life started to open up in magical ways. New opportunities that perhaps were always there started to make themselves more visible because I was attuned and open to it, as opposed to having these inner dialogues and wasting my energy fighting myself, trying to convince myself that it's okay to do something that I don't feel comfortable doing because then this person will like me, right? Yeah, it's not about being liked. It's definitely about being free for me. So that's been one of the bigger components of understanding in my recent journey. The reason I share this is because I really want to share this understanding that not everyone gets access to our energy, nor should they be entitled to that. We choose. We are responsible for what we are allowed within this energetic field that is ours, be it in the form of people or situations, because it all affects us, you know, on such a deep level. And if we notice that someone may be a heavier energy or negative energy, that no matter how strong you are on a deeper level, if you're constantly around that, it will subconsciously affect you. So it's important to be really vigilant of what's around us and what we're allowing. For myself, you know, I've been around situations where people are gossiping, and I can't stand for that. That moves me internally. It makes me feel ill. My body is like the it's a very intuitive system, right? And it's my guiding system. And when it's reacting, when it's responding with like discomfort, I know like, all right, this is not healthy for me. So there are certain situations that once I feel it coming up, I'm not going to be there, right? I will excuse myself from the situation. I will leave if it's in the form of people gossiping, if it's in the form of lying. I will excuse myself, or I will stand up for what my values and integrity are, because otherwise I feel ill, honestly. It makes me feel ill. And if I allow that, then I start to get this guilt complex where like, why didn't you say anything? Why were you just sitting there? Why were you there? And I know how that feels. So it's like, okay, I have this choice. Either I'm going to be a bystander in the situation and feel terrible and then go through a guilt complex, which I've been through many times before, and I've had to learn this lesson the hard way. Or I will take the uncomfortable path and speak up and say, hey, this is not something that I align with. This is not something I stand for. And I will excuse myself. And these are just the little things that I want to share as an example, but it's important to stand our ground. It's important to really live to the values that we set for ourselves. That helps us keep our energy clean, and it helps us vibrate at a higher level as well. Also, if we aren't really vigilant with who gets access to our energy, we leak that power. As I mentioned, our vibration starts to lower if we're around situations that aren't really healthy for us. And once our vibration lowers, what does that do? That affects our power of creation. We are all here to create. We are conscious creators of our lives. And if we're in the mud and just like really down there, it gets challenging to really see what's up ahead of us. So remember to stand tall, clean yourself off. Be sure of who's around you. Are they trying to drag you down? Or are they trying to elevate you? And based off of that weight, then you can decide, okay, this person is someone I would love to have in my life because we are supporting each other, right? And I recall this conversation that I just had recently about energetic bank accounts. If someone just continues to withdraw and withdraw and withdraw and never deposits, that might be a situation where you're like, okay, well, you know what? It's been overdrawn, and right now there needs to be a boundary and a limit set. Whereas, when we're with people who withdraw and deposit, there's equilibrium, there's balance there. So a nice little thing to lean back on if you ever have any doubts about it. I recall hearing a story about Elon Musk from his wife, and she mentioned that Elon said no a lot. And what she understood from that was that a no in reality was a bigger yes. A bigger yes to what he was working towards. And this is something that I like to apply in my life. Like, yes, when I say no, it's not anything to do with the person or the situation. I evaluate, all right, is this aligned with my values? Do I have the time? Am I able to? How am I feeling energetically? If I'm in a space where I can complete on that, then I'll say yes. Because I'm someone who likes to complete on what I say I'll do. And when I commit to something, I'm fully committed. So I always give myself a little bit of time to evaluate, to see if I am in the space to be able to do the work, to do what the person's asking. And if it's a no, that's perfectly fine, right? Because I know that in the longer run, that's going to serve me. It's going to help me get to my dreams, get to where I'm going to. And it's nothing against the other person. And once I was able to really start to reprogram my mind to not perceive it and see it as, when I say no, it's like a personal thing with that, to whoever's asking, they're gonna feel that I'm a bad person, whatever, blah, 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 throw it out and understand it's not personal. In order for me to be the best version of myself, to show up fully, to give the most in this life, I need to take care of myself. And sometimes that's being a little bit more firm, right? and being able to see through people who are trying to manipulate me into doing something or guilt me into making decisions, right? And that's kind of leaning into the internal intuitive system that is the body and allowing it to guide me through the experience, telling me like, hey, this doesn't feel right, you know? So protect your energy. And by really protecting your energy, what you're really doing is protecting your life path. You have a direction. You're moving towards your goals. And when you're fully focused and locked in on what that is, you move with conviction. If we're not protecting our boundaries and we're being swayed in whatever way, our path we start to go off side paths and we lose track of where we're moving towards. And we may get lost in the process of saying yes to everyone. So I recall a couple of years ago, I actually had a huge process in my life. And this was opened up by a teacher from Brazil. Her name is Edna. And Edna, this was my first experience really with the medium. And Edna allows spirit entity to use her as a channel to communicate. And I recall, initially I was a little bit skeptical, right? And this is my first time really experiencing anything like this. So I was kind of not really sure of what was ahead for me. But she asked me, she's like, hey, some spirit wants to speak with you. Can you come down at 9 p.m. tonight and I will allow them to use me? So I said yes. And yeah, that was quite an experience, and that opened up a intense process for me. So I went down and I met with Edna, and she did her process, and then the spirit came, and it just started to say a lot of things. And with the words, it moved a lot of things internally. And essentially it was along these lines. It's like, hey, you say yes to everyone and to everything. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful quality of yours that you like to take care of the people around you, and that you're always so willing to help everyone around you, but you don't take care of yourself. And, at first I was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. And she said more things along those lines, right? A little bit more personal. And I recall after that, I got really sick. I got really, really sick. We had a ceremony that following evening, and I really contemplated not going in because I was just so sick. And when I took some time to really think about it, like energetically, that session moved a lot. It moved a lot of emotions, a lot of energy, and my body reacted. And in retrospect, what came that whole following year, pretty much that spirit opened up Pandora's box for me. Because the whole following year, I experienced either sickness or injury back to back to back. And it was one of the most challenging years of my life. And it got to the point where I get sick. I had COVID. Okay, get done. I get back up, dust myself off, let's go. I had an injury. I hurt my ankle pretty bad. Okay, took some time rest, got back up, dust myself off, and go. Got COVID again. And this was nonstop. Like I'm not, believe me when I say it was just back to back to back. By the time October came around, it was like the final straw, right? I hurt my lower back. I got up, dusted myself off, and then I got sick again. And at that point, I just didn't have it in me anymore. I was burnt out. I was tired. It felt like life gave me that huge right hook, and it just took me out. And it was in that surrender. Like at that point, like I just didn't have it in me to get back up anymore. And I really understood, like, hey, if I don't change something, this is going to manifest into a more serious disease. And honestly, that was a very humbling moment because I couldn't get back up. And in that inability to get up, I truly surrendered. And once I was able to truly surrender, I was able to really listen and listen to what life was telling me. And when I was able to get into that, I understood that I was living with constant guilt. And this ties in with the people pleasing, and this ties in with not protecting my energy. I felt guilty when I was in Chicago and I wasn't in Mexico supporting the project of the regenerative agriculture, of the ceremonies, and advancing with my spirituality. And then when I was in Mexico, I felt guilty that I wasn't in the Chicagoland area supporting my family, being there for them. And it was just this constant state of guilt, that this tension just like was destroying my body, my spirit, my emotions, and sickness and injury just started to flourish because my system was so torn energetically, again, with not protecting boundaries, that it just really wrecked me for a little bit. And once I was able to understand that, I was able to really start to like, okay, you know what? I need to take care of me first. I need to do what feels right for me, and I need to be okay with that. And that's when I really started to work on that guilt complex and understand like, hey, if I'm not good, nothing else is well around me. So I cannot be here, I cannot be there. I'm gonna take some time for me. And that was a really healing experience. So in retrospect, kind of tie it all together. It's so important that we really are cautious about how we show up in the world, cautious and aware of our subconscious patterns, and just more than anything, feeling it in our body, right? We gotta take care of this. All right, so let's talk about how your environment reflects your energy. In indigenous cultures, it's custom to cleanse this space, be it in the form of smudging, of calling in the directions, of calling in different spirits or entities to help cleanse and protect the space. And the same should be taken into account for your personal life and for your personal being. We're right here, right? Everything within your energetic field. Use these tools that are available to us, which can be palo santo or sage or copal, which is also known as frankincense. It's something that we can use to smudge our space and even the spaces we're living in. Honestly, if you ever feel that there's a heaviness or something stuck, use these tools available to you to help cleanse it, to help clean. Also understanding that, you know, everything's a reflection, right? So if our space is very messy in a very deep level, that affects our mind. That makes our mind a little bit more messy. That makes our energy a little bit more messy. So as I spoke about earlier, being really vigilant about taking care of our energy, about who we allow in, it's also taking care of the spaces we exist in. If we live in clutter, we will have a cluttered mind. So we really have to take care of this, of everything around us. We have to get really nitpick and, like I said, cutthroat about our existence around us. So it's important to note that physical clutter, it equals energetic clutter, which equals a stuck life force. And you can think of it this way, right? Like once there's a lot of buildup in we'll say a stream, right? And the water gets stuck, it gets murky. And it's not moving, and then it gets dark. Once we can clear up those little blockages, the water starts to move again and it clears up. And that's the same for our energy and for our life. So the more attention we place on keeping that flow of energy going, moving cleanly, right? Not allowing clutter and buildup to start to get the water stuck, then we flow with life more graciously. Life responds to us. We continue to be in our power as creators and really have the full utilization of the energy behind it, right? Think of it like if I'm stuck and energy is not flowing, then I have just a little stream of energy that I'm able to utilize to be able to create something. And maybe that little stream of energy isn't enough needed to be able to create. So then I don't. And then that becomes a loop in itself. The frustration, why am I not doing more? Why can't I do this? So let's make sure that we focus on keeping everything tidy and clean within our being and within around us, right? Everything's a reflection, this whole mirror concept that we've spoken about in other videos. Let's make sure that what life is reflecting is what we want to see. And if it's not, that's okay. We just have to make some tweaks internally to align ourselves to the reality that we want to choose. You know, there's a prime example that I've had many examples in my life, but right now I'm going to speak on something that happened recently. So we're in the process of moving houses, and you know, part of that process is decluttering, cleaning, and preparing the house for staging. And the house has felt very heavy for a while, and this is something that I've constantly had to do limpias, which is cleanses, right? With smudging, with different things, moving things energetically, cleaning. And there's a lot of children, so there's usually a pretty big mess. And recently we all kind of worked as a team and cleaned the house, and wow, day and night of how I felt, how everyone felt. And this is reflective, it's true. You know, when I start my day, I like to clean the space, make my bed, clean everything around, have order, and my mind is a lot more free-flowing, right? And I've been on the other side of that, right? Where I wake up and I just kind of go, do what I gotta do. There's clothes on the floor, the bed's not made, my desk is messy, and it's just kind of like, you know, moving through, figuring out like, oh, what do I do? You know, I gotta do this. And so as I begin to organize my space, then my mind starts to get organized too, and I'm able to enter into my day in a flow state, pristine energy, pristine clarity, and it's a thing of beauty. It feels really nice and uplifting, and I'm able to get into that space of a creator and be excited for life. And that's a state that we should all strive to be in. I mean, ultimately, whatever you feel is right for your life, like, I'm not going to tell you otherwise, right? But it's a very beautiful state to be in when you're excited about life, when you're excited about what you're working on, what you're creating, when you're excited about what you're working towards. That's where I feel just like it's magical, right? And it's a beautiful state to be in, and something that I'm working towards, helping those who are seeking to step into their power as creators and get to that state. With one of my recent clients, Martin, we worked on getting him clarity in how to create abundance. And now he's connected with his passion about using the voice for singing, for creation as well, because our thoughts and our words are powerful. So he's made this connection, and now he's built out a course. And that's just him stepping into his own power and deciding what it is that he wants in his life. And it's been a beautiful thing to be a part of and to witness and to accompany him with. So if any of you are interested in working together, feel free to click the link in my bio and book a call. We can see if it's a good fit. So I touched on this a little bit earlier in the video, but protecting your energy requires filtering all inputs, be it conversations, be it people, be it environment or situations. What I like to do, like I mentioned earlier, is use my intuitive, very intricate system that is my body. And I know I've shared this in other videos as well. My body is constantly reacting to the stimulus around me. If it's an unhealthy thought, there is discomfort, there is unease in my body. And the same can be extended for people, situations, conversations, or environments. You ever had those moments where you step into a space and you're like, there's something, I don't feel right about this, right? Or right before heading out to a certain thing, same type of feeling. Or a person, you know, you start speaking with them and you're like, I don't really, this isn't for me. Unsubscribe, please. This is our intuition. This is a very powerful guiding force that we have accessible to us. And it's a question of just learning how to listen, how to understand the language of the body. And just like anything in life, it just takes a little bit of time to sit with it, be with it, and learn. I always go back to the lessons of the guitar. I love guitar. And it took patience to learn it. And now I kind of see that with everything that I do in life. Everything is a skill that can be learned. It just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of patience. And lo and behold, sooner than later, you're starting to learn how to master it. So with your intuition, I just always recommend to learn how to use that as a trigger. When I feel discomfort, unease, whatever it is, I start to ask myself, okay, what's going on? What am I thinking first? Is it a negative thought? Go through there, check, no. Where am I? Start to kind of analyze where I'm at. Is there something here that's making me feel weird? Okay, no, or yes. Who am I with? Start to kind of observe that. What are we talking about? Right? Like, get really introspective with it. Why do I feel uneasy? And once, like, I ask myself and I realize, like, when I start sitting with it, is it this person? Oh yeah, it is. Or what were we just talking about? We're talking about, we're gossiping? Oh no, that's not for me, right? Or what's going on here? There's some people over there, the situation looks like it's about to unfold. There's a little negativity, getting loud. Okay, that's it. Learning how to assess and really filter out everything around us, it becomes a superpower. And it's accessible to all of us, right? So we can all learn this. There's a song that we sing in ceremonies, and it's in Spanish. So it's vigilar, vigilar, vigilar mis pensamientos, vigilar. And what it translates to is be vigilant of my thoughts. And extending that, be vigilant of my surrounding, and be vigilant of those around me. So just a few different tips that are really useful for me, have been really huge for me in my process of mastering how to take care of my energy. It's something I'm still learning and something I'm still going to learn about. Life is a constant learning experience, right? So these are just some things that have been helpful for me thus far as I continue to learn more practices and explore different techniques as well. And we could take it a step further and really understand that everything is either feeding our energy or draining it. And then that's when we have to, like I said, become a little cutthroat. If this is draining my energy, no thank you. This is feeding it, please, more of this. The universe is constantly listening to our requests and how we respond, right? And if we're constantly taking in things that drain our energy, it's like, oh, well, this is what they want, let's give them more of that. So be aware. I'd like to offer this reframe. Boundaries aren't walls. They're sacred doors. Again, tying it back into indigenous culture, boundaries are seen as something sacred, necessary. You can't just go into someone else's circle without being invited. And it's well known, and it's respected amongst all these different tribes and communities. And the same goes for ourselves, right? Once we're able to reframe and understand that boundaries are not walls, they're sacred doors, they're things that amplify us. They don't make us smaller, they make us bigger. They make us more of ourselves, because more of our energy is protected and within us, that we're not leaking, we're right here. So it makes us more whole, more complete, and bigger in the grand scheme of life. We have more energy accessible to create. So going off of this understanding, understand that boundaries do not shrink your life. It just amplifies it. If you're feeling called to build stronger boundaries, protect your field, and start to truly live from your inner master, sign up for my newsletter below. I send weekly tips and techniques on how to start to achieve this protection. And for those of you who are interested in working one-on-one, I also have a link for my calendar. Feel free to book a free 30-minute session where we can discuss and assess and see if it's a good fit for both of us. Until next time, hausch hausch.